Okay, so I gave a handout, and it says, in someone else's story, we are the hero. And just like I was sharing, when we had somebody a couple generations before us that did something for us, or even someone younger, like as we heard, having a child correct us. I said, oh, they are listening, they are learning. And then also there are some systems that are doing an amazing job working with the young ones to be more respectful, to acknowledge the gender, to acknowledge identification, and things that we didn't grow up with, so we're still working on. And it's amazing when the young ones can do that. Okay, and here we go again.
Take three. If you can repeat the same way.
So looking at the lessons that have been presented for us, we see people that have made a difference in our lives, people that have encouraged us. And some of that encouragement was outside of the norm. And so I have nieces that play hockey. And this one colleague of hers said, you know, this is all ticked off. Someone told me I skate like a girl. And she looked at him and said, you know, if you practice more, you might. And, you know, make it into a positive. And then looking at like a young guy that's putting together flowers for his mom. I was like, awesome. Because he had the patience for it. His sisters don't. And then looking at what we can do, who we can become. And, you know, not even acknowledging that glass ceiling. So just totally bypass it. And because through change, through voice, and using our personal voices, and through numbers, how we can make a difference. And like somebody that you're at a gathering and you see somebody that kind of looks a bit uncomfortable, and then went over there, just going up to them and said, you know, I'm sorry, I almost forgot. I'm really tired. I forgot to have an assignment. And are you still heading back with me? And then, oh, yeah. Are we going now? Sorry. But it removed them from uncomfortable situation where there was someone that harasses them, and someone just kept under the radar. So he wasn't fully harassing, but was bothering and was being annoying and was just sticking around someone. But we're taught too often to be polite. And so we have to put politeness ahead of personal safety, which is backwards. We should not have to be polite to people that intend to harm us. Mm-hmm. And so when we look at that, so that person that gave us an out, that person that guided us, that person that stepped in, that person that made a difference, and just think of who that person is. It could be multiple people, but I'd like you to start within your own circle. If it wasn't a grandfather, it might have been a grandmother. If it wasn't the father, it might be your mother, because there's some amazing people that handled everything. So we have some mothers that were mothers and fathers and everybody in between. And there were also some dads that took on that role and were amazing to be there with the kids. And we look at who those people are, and there should be enough sheets. If not, we can just rearrange a couple. But this is for you. You can take it. You don't have to fill it in now. You can put someone's face on there. You can put a crest on there. You could fill it in with words. You can write a short story on the other side. This could be your cover page to a novel that you're writing about somebody. But this is for you to kind of formulate your thoughts. But what I would like to do is just do it as a go around. I had shared like my grandfather and who he was to me. Because when people asked him why he signed up, like in the Second World War, he goes, well, I didn't sign up to be a hero. My friend was going. I didn't want him to go by himself. And so something as simple as that. And so also, what else was there for him here? Nothing really. And then we look at how he made a difference, because when him and my grandmother married in 1939, he was the one that was doing more of the cooking and really, really taking care of her. And she felt uncomfortable because he was doing that. But he woke up, he was 6 at the time, and he'd, hanging out with his mom, sleeping, and his aunts were all sitting around. And when he woke up, they all started crying. And they were just waiting for him to, his mom had passed during the night. And they were just waiting for him to get up before they could start the services. So he didn't have his mom past that point, but he had his aunts. And so they were there, they stepped in, they worked with him and helped him and guided him. And he talks about challenges from things that you can't unsee things. And World War II, there was a lot of horrible things that people seen. And so when he came back, in the forces, he learned to drink. And I remember, I'm the first grandchild, as I shared. But when I was little, I remember asking him, how come you smoke? And you're just going on about a few things. And then I realized that he didn't smoke after that. And I asked him some other things, and it's like, and then I was talking with other people, and I said, why did he quit? Why did this happen? I said, because you asked him, because you told him. And that's a lot of power for like a 4-year-old kid to change a habit that somebody had. And by asking him those questions, I inadvertently had him confront some of his demons. And when we were little, we were playing, and I had my farm animals. And I said, okay, I'm putting my stuff away, but they came to pick me up and heading back to my parents' place. I told them, okay, here, you have this one, so hang on to it, and then when I bring the other stuff, we'll play with it again. I thought, in my mind, I'm thinking, geez, what a bossy kid. But anyway, so he took it, and then we left. My mom and dad split up soon after that, and we moved to another province, and then other stuff goes on. I moved back home and lived with my grandparents, and my grandmother passed away. And then from a crowded full house, it was just me and Grandpa home. Because my brother that lived with us, my cousin, my brother, he moved back to his parents. So just me and Grandpa. And then you're watching TV, and then he's like, you want to go to town? Sure. So he goes, okay, I'm going to get my stuff, just start the vehicle. And then he gave me the keys. And I was looking, he has a whole bunch of keychains on there. And that toy that I gave him was still on there. It's like more than a dozen years later. And when I gave it to him, a kid forgets soon after. But also, it showed me that he didn't put it away in the cupboard. He didn't put it someplace for safekeeping. He put it on something that he used every day, all those years. And that shows that relationship. And it showed what he thought of me, to keep me close. And he gave me some excellent lessons that I am using now for my grandkids, to be there for them, to take care of them. Aside from the first day when my grandson learned that his mom wasn't going to go to school with him and he had tears, the only other day he cried was when he wasn't allowed to bring his iPad. And the bus driver was like, he has an iPad? And then his mom said, yeah, he has someone who really loves him. And that was me. But by taking care of him, but also by calling him. Like, there's times where he's done something, and I remember like when he was younger, and his cry when he's getting his nose cleaned, or when he's getting changed, or perhaps being mortally beaten, were all at that same level. And so it was hard not to run, not to react, and just kind of, okay, and just be patient. And then his mom comes out. I was cleaning his nose. Okay, thank you. So I can breathe normally again. But I had to teach myself not to react, not to yell. Like, don't hurt him, what are you doing, and who's supposed to be watching him, and just take it as normal. Like, he doesn't like something, he's going to cry out. He's an infant, that's how he is. So I said, okay. So, and another time, there was something that he did, and he had gotten out of there, and he came out, and I looked, just peeked down the hall, and he seen me, so he comes running up to me. And then, so I'm holding him, and then his mom came partway and froze when she says, he's in my arms. And so I put him on my leg and just bounce him and tell him, Mom loves you, listen to her. She's trying to help you, but trust her, she loves you. And then you could just visibly see her like exhale, that I wasn't gonna get after her, and why should I get after her? It's like, she is the mom. And she's the one that's going to make those calls. Yes, it's bedtime. Yes, it's TV off. Yes, this. And I have to make sure that I don't step on her toes because she is his mom and she does love him. And yesterday, seeing him get off the bus and then run into his mom, and it's like that kid has so much love for his mom. I think it's such a gift. And so, from my hero, just trying to pass that on to the next ones. So again, we'll do the go around. So you're welcome to share, and you can participate even if it's in your head. If it's a bit much at this time, just you can pass. We'll do a full round, and then we'll make it available that after the round, if someone has passed, we'll give you another opportunity, and then we'll complete that round. And then we're going to transition and do a debrief, and would terribly appreciate any feedback you have on these sessions. General thoughts, general observations, feedback, housekeeping, what about this, things you would like to see in the future, or audiences you think that we should bring in, and others that we might reach out to, or other approaches we can take. Because it was really concentrated, like a day and a half, but still there's things we didn't have time for, things that could have been expanded, things that, what if we did this one a little bit more concise? Just give us some feedback, we can take it. And also, shoulda, coulda, woulda. So it's gonna be quite general. So for now, like you just, if you're willing, share some thoughts on someone who made an impression in your life by doing something different. And then later on, prepare for feedback in general on the session. And I'll make you a bit more responsible by passing this around for you to talk into. And it's on, and the mute is off.
Perfect.
Then the power's on. Thank you.
Okay, so we're talking about the
Someone who
hero.
made a difference.
Someone who made a difference. Can I keep this in my head just for now and
Yeah.
moving on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
That was-
sorry, just also, when we were doing the session earlier, I'd shared how for many of us, English is not our first language. And so when you're sharing, if there's something that you're not exactly sure how to say it in your own, whatever time you feel most natural with, and it kind of comes and flows. Because the meaning will kind of come through. And then I find that if I switch into Siksika, and then I can paraphrase it, and then I can continue. But just do it the way that you're comfortable. Okay? So thank you.
Well, in my case, it was definitely my mom. My dad, he was a good guy. He was a good father, but he passed away when I was 12 years old. So it was my mom, the one who took charge of both my sister and me, and who really struggled to make us be successful. And of course, she was not a perfect mother. There were some things that could have been better. But if I make a comparison with my mom and her resources and the resources she had back then and the information she had back then and the situation she was into on that day, I can say that definitely my mom did a great job with my sister and with me. And actually, one of the things that kind of like a way to recognize this in the case of my sister had a son 2 years ago, and instead in Mexico, the last names. The first one is the dad's last name, and the second one is the mom's last name. So my sister decided to give to turn it the opposite way. So the mom's last name is the first one that my nephew has, which I think is really good, because there are lots of moms that are at the end taking care of children, lots of single moms that are the ones that are struggling and stuff like that. So I'm really I really agree with this idea in the case of Mexico that it's children taking the last names of moms first, and then that's the second place, which I think is a really good thing to do in these cases. Why not, of course? So yeah, my mom.
Well, a hero for me, right? I think the person that taught me English when I was 10 and back in my hometown in Mexico, and she was like preaching in my hometown. My dad had a house that she was renting a room from. And long story short, she didn't have money to keep paying the rent. So she talked to my dad and offered him to teach me English. And to me, she was like, she still is. She's like in her 80s. I just went to visit her last year. And she, to me, and I've told her this before, she was like a model to follow because she loves traveling and she speaks many languages. And to me, it was like, wow, a free spirit, you know? And because she taught me English, of course, years after she told me that, well, she believes in God very much, and I do too. And she said that God told her that she needed to teach me English because I was gonna need it. Hello, yes, I've used English very much, so I'm very grateful. But back then I didn't know, right? So she was an example for me, still is. And she's always very happy and willing to help people. And yeah, to me, she was my hero back then. She taught me to play the piano as well and to cook. Like we had this long Saturdays to study. And she always told me, because other kids at 10, you know, they want to do other things. And I was so into learning and, you know, like the language and whatever she had to teach me. I was like very excited. I didn't even feel the time. And yes, sometimes we would study like from 10 in the morning until like the class today. And I was happy. Like I never got tired or anything. So anyway, to me, she was my hero. And it really helped me in my life up until the day of today. So yeah, thank you. And her name is Chata. Well, she likes to be called Chata, but her name is Jinx. Chata Torres.
Same like everyone, like mom is very important role in personality development especially. So I will say I spend lots of time with my mom, but she helped me a lot in my career and my personality development. Though she was not too educated, but every night, like when we sleep, so she remind like prayers, dua, so lots of things like whatever she knows, she teaches. So that was like good time with her. When she passed away, so we obviously miss her. She had a cancer, but we learned a lot. Like she's the first lady or person. We will say she's the hero. Thank you.
I guess this is kind of a theme that's going along. I guess similar to Marco, my dad died when I was 9. So there were 4 of us that my mom raised as a single mom. And it really wasn't until I had kids of my own that I really had a true appreciation for kind of everything that she did. And she was kind of one of those, the ultimate unsung hero. I don't think she ever complained about anything in her whole life. That's the way life was, kind of went on. And I think part of what she instilled in us was just the expectation that we were still expected to do well. Didn't matter where we came from. We were all expected to go to university. And we came from a poor family background. So like my older brother was the first kid kind of from the family that went to university. And it all 4 of us ended up all going to university, which kind of under those circumstances was probably more than what a lot of people expected. But I think part of that was not only my mom, but I was also lucky that I had a lot of extended family members. So I had 2 or 3 uncles who were really great role models who kind of took over and I think taught me how to live properly. So it was kind of a whole extended family were the superheroes for us to grow up and become where we were.
My hero is my dad. He said to me once when he was sharing his story, because he was a presidential guard. He is a special assistant to the president then of the Philippines. So during the war, they had to escape an island to go to Australia because the Japanese are coming in, and they had when they were escorting the president, he had to remain in one of these court ship, and then it actually was bombed, and he swam back to the shore, and he was telling me, about you could not fool a man who crossed the Pacific Ocean twice. That was what he was telling me. It's about courage, actually. And it helped me a lot, and especially now. And I'm diagnosed with a terminal illness, and I think one of the things that I'm holding to, or I'm holding on, is that one of the things that he said, and also it was repeated by one of the healthcare professionals who are actually looking for palliative patients like me. The one from Emerson, that says that life is a journey, it's not the final destination. So I think some of those of you who knew me when I was diagnosed, I could barely walk. I'm in the hospital, and I'm not treated anymore because I'm terminal illness, and they transferred me immediately to the palliative care. So I think we have lots of heroes, but what actually, that one of the thoughts or sayings that actually significantly impacted me is that quote about looking at life as a journey, and not as a final destination, that holding on to life, that I would like to live more, like several months, because my son is going to be married 6 months after my diagnosis. So I was diagnosed August. So the marriage is January 2019. So I was actually asking that I would last until that month. But again, so things turned out right. I mean, I'm responding well to the medicine, which is a new one. And so I'm again bargained that I will be given enough more time to see my youngest son graduate from high school, which happened last. And then I was, again, looks like I'm holding on to, I'm always asking for bargain. But I think that one, the word that was that my father told me about life, and the one that actually also shared in one of our sessions in palliative care, that's what that's what makes me go on and face life or death. So yeah, that's one of the things that I would like to share.
Arya, if you want to
Turn the camera.
It's okay.
turn the camera on. The observer is not here.
Well, I was thinking about it when it was brought up about the hero, and other than having, $6 million man being the hero and that kind of stuff, Yeah, that was like a fiction hero. And then the real life hero, it's hard for me to say. Yeah, I think I was so messed up when I was a kid, and so like hopeless, and philosophically thinking about this world as kind of negative, and not a place to have any hope for any betterment or whatever. So maybe that didn't let me pick anyone as a hero. Although, if I look back, my mom was the one that held the fort in our house. And despite a lot of anomalies we had and abuse and such, she kept going. She kept taking care of us. And if she wouldn't do that, if she wouldn't be so hardworking and in the middle of all the house chores and everything was on her shoulder, she went to study at night to finish her degree and get a better job. And generally speaking, many things she did that was very heroic and admiring for her steadfast, push toward making us feel good, have what we need to have, and do anything she could do for us. So yeah, that's for me.
Okay, my turn. So I'm going to talk about how I am a role model for my two boys. I have two boys. One is in Japan. He's a psychologist. He is 27, and he is working as a professor. And I have the oldest boy who is in California. He's interfaith designer, and he is working at in a company of robotic, right? Back home, I was professor. I was researcher. I have a lot of administrative job in my university. My children told me that they have been following me in my career. They both are researchers. They both are very successful. And the one who is professor in Japan, he is teaching in English. He also speaks Spanish because it's our native language, and he speaks French and English. And he teaches at the university in English, but he also speaks Japanese. So my youngest son, the one who is in Japan, he told me, Mom, you know what? The 60% who I am is because of you. Because I have been following you, and every day you surprise me. But I'm sorry, I'm so sensitive talking about that. You surprise me with your success, and I want to be with like you all my life. And the other one, the one who is in the United States, he studied in Italy. He did his master in Italy and his PhD in Denmark. And the other one in Japan did his master and his PhD in Japan. The youngest one is 27 and the oldest is 28. And they are now in the place they want to be. So they are very successful. I'm very proud of them. And they are very proud of myself.
I'm Joan. I guess there are quite a few heroes that I have had in my life, but I guess my mom would be the first one. She came to Canada, didn't speak English, and went to English classes, and then trained for a career, and she had small children at the same time. So it just showed me that you can do it no matter your age, your life circumstances, your struggles, and that you can overcome all these obstacles in your life. And yeah, I think that that's just an amazing role model to have in your life as a child and even as an adult, looking at a parent who now has had a long career, like decades of being in a career and being secure in that career, proficient at it, and to have that independence, especially as a woman later in life. So yeah, she would be the person who I could identify as a hero.
I think as far as my hero growing up, it was my best friend. Her name is Nadia. She was always unapologetically herself. She was always excited about things that she was passionate in. And I was pretty anxious growing up, pretty reserved, kind of wore a mask a lot. And she kind of helped me to get out of my shell and be who I am and be proud of who I am and be as unapologetically myself as she was. And yeah, she passed away a couple of years in an accident. And I think I remember a lot of what she taught me growing up about it's okay to be you, it's okay to be weird, it's okay to be funny and silly, and you don't have to be serious and put together, and you can be free and yourself. So that would be my hero.
I think for me it's difficult to choose one person that has been a hero for me, especially because I try to learn and take something from everyone that I form a relationship with, and I try to really go into an interaction thinking that someone can really teach me something. At this point in my life, I've sort of formed a really great support system for myself, comprised of many different friends and family. And I think that they have shaped and are still shaping who I am as a person and who I see myself as and who I strive to be. And I think they all know who they are. And I think that it's good that I recognize that in them. And it's good that I often tell them that the reason why I do this specific thing is because you've taught me that.
Increasingly, I think for me, person I might consider my hero would be my father, my dad. He was, so growing up, I've always saw qualities in him that I never thought was cool or that I sort of admired. But I think the older I get, the more I see how wise he was. So my dad has sort of become my hero. I think my next reunion with him, I think, would be quite emotional.
Definitely, I think my parents, my dad and my mom, have a significant impact on my life. But since they're gone and both have passed away, whatever they have taught me since I was young and when I grew up, it's still there. But what matters most right now that I considered heroes in my everyday life are the people that I meet, I help in the community. So what I'm saying is the heroes that I consider are the people in the community that helped me change my views, teach me how to live, not only how to have a life, but also help me face the challenges in everyday life. Because by merely talking and listening to their stories, it makes me a better person. And like sometimes the experience that they share to us is unimaginable, and sometimes it's hard to think how could they cope, but they are still living, and yet their struggle is a strength. So I think drawing from that strength and their struggles is really, for me, an heroic act up to this time that they're doing. So I know it's a tough one, but I think I really consider them as a hero, shaping me at who I am now. And that's why I have to continue the struggles and help them and work with them and live with them.
In my case, I'd say regarding my parents, it's not who I am, not because of, but maybe despite of. Because my mom's messages were always like, you won't be able to do that. You will be brokenhearted if you fail. I don't want you to fail, and because of getting those messages, you go and you do stuff. And my dad, by role modeling, I kind of learned from him, like, to never give up. But at the same time, like, I was getting messages, if I do something wrong, I know about that. If I do something right, I don't know. I just do it because you just do what you have to do. So I guess I have a collective heroes, because I learn from different people in different stages of my life. And I really like heroes are those for me who are conscious and who stand up for the truth and not just only taking care of their business, but also live within the community and do something for everyone, because we are all interconnected, I believe. And it has consequences whether we do something or whether we decide not to do anything. We still influence what's happening around us. And I guess I will quote one of my heroes, is the political prisoner who was exchanged today, and he spent 5 years in prison. He's Oleg Sentsov, film director, and he quoted Bulgakov, a writer, that the biggest enemy of all of us is fear, because people do a lot of things because of fear. They don't stand up for others because of fear, or they don't evolve or don't do things for themselves because of fear, to get out of the comfort zone and things like that. So have a collective figures and people who actually mentors, who actually help me to believe in myself and be brave enough to believe and to do something, and get out of the village and get those educations. And Lisa also one of them. So thank you.
Nice feeling. So I've been fortunate to have so many wonderful influences in my life, getting me through so many different times, and I could talk about many of them. But today I'm going to talk about Lemlem, who is such a wonderful, beautiful person. And I could talk all day about what a great friend Lemlem has been to me. Also, I learned kind of through trial and tribulation, good communication skills and how to get through things, forgiveness, all of these things. Yeah, Lemlem is more than a sister to me, so, and more than a family member and more than an aunt, a second mother to Parisa. And I just wanted to honor her because she's here. And I just wanted to say, I know you all know what an amazing person she is, but it's just above and beyond what I could hope for a best friend. So thank you, Lemlem. Yeah.
Did you have to do that just before I talk? Thank you. You're my hero too. God, what an emotional day, wasn't it? Like we've learned so much. Like the work we're doing is this amazing work, but it is very emotional. And I was thinking, okay, this is the last video, and then another video would come in, right? Like this whole afternoon has been learning for us because I think we're emotional because this is so close to our heart, right? The things that we're doing. So I was thinking, like, actually, when Adrian is doing, like, when this exercise, I was like, okay, I'm gonna, look up what hero means, and I was like, except like somebody who does great act, somebody who's courageous, and I thought, oh my God, that's like very hard to pin it to one person, right? Because there's no such thing. I think it was Marco who said, like my mom is my hero, but she's not perfect. I think that's what it is, right? Like there's no perfection on the things that we're looking for. And so when I was thinking about this work and how, especially on the last presentation, how is it possible that I'm doing this work? And I was thinking, who's in my life that makes it possible to imagine this is possible, that there's great men, there's great leaders that makes it for me possible that I can envision this. That's who I thought today is my hero, because I said that even yesterday. Because when I'm doing this work, we need somebody who symbolizes that, not in our imagination, but they symbolize it every day. And I am so happy to see Vic, because Vic is one of my heroes, because he being part of the men's group every day, I saw how he worked, and he lived the life, but he also he did the work. Arya was the first person to really I thought, wow, like a man can like be a great father, and I saw how he was with Parisa, and how generous he was with Parisa, and I thought, okay, that's not hard to imagine, right? Because I have somebody in my life that I could say when I'm talking about the work that we're doing, I could imagine there's somebody that does that, and then. Doug, my partner, every day he shows on the everyday things that he does. He shows like how he can live as a man, as a partner, as a father. I see him and the work that he does with me. He volunteers with me so much. At work, they think that he works with me. Like that's how they, and then Adrian. Like I love, you guys heard about his grandchild. I love when he just sends me a text, and he sent me the other day a picture of his grandchild. And yes, he's spoiled, just so you guys know, yes, because he had all these beautiful things. But that's not about things. It's just about what the mother said. It's because he has somebody that he loves. So it's not. For me, it's not far off to imagine this work. And I just got to know you, Veronica and Maurice, and I love how your kids run to you. And that warms, again, my heart when I see that caring. The same thing, everybody, like Abbas, like everybody, every single of you guys, when I see this, it's not easy. It's not hard for me to imagine this world is possible. So yeah, you guys are like my heroes, everybody, and the women, all of us. My best friend here. Actually, the first thing that came to my mind, actually, when somebody says about the hero, is actually I just thought of Parisa. I don't know why that came to my actually mind. So anyway, thank you again, everybody. I do have to say, like Maimuna said, I think every single of you guys are my heroes because you're here with me. Like we could be outside. Like it's not like we didn't have anything else to do, but we're here because we love the work that we're all doing, right? I'll pass it to my next hero.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing, and are you still going to continue? So if you still would like to say, you still get a chance. But also I want to point out that yesterday Abbas had put these sheets up, and there's still room there. So there's things today that apply, like what did you learn today, things today. Please still feel free to do that. But again, if you didn't hear on this time, there's a couple that passed, do the first question. You can also do that next one, like feedback on the training.
Say something?
Yeah, maybe just one comment. It's about the presentation we had about sexual violence. When I came in, I was a bit like a blank page. Like many men, like we talked about, I live in a world where I feel safe, and I just take for granted that women feel the same as well, and everything is safe. So what I heard from that is a call for dialogue between men and women, saying that we women, we feel like that. We can do so much. We need men, your help. And this is how you can help. And then there's a few points, very simple. Well, you know, it's possible to list them very simply. And this is how you can help us. Not that it's easy to do, but some of it is fairly easy. It's just a matter of being aware. So just want to thank for the opportunity of opening my mind. And I think from now on, I might be more aware of the issue. So thanks very much.
It was difficult for me to choose a hero. In Mexico, my hero, definitely my mom. I think I learned from my mom to care for other people. She was a psychologist, and she was always helping, and she was always caring for the community. She was always so open people to approach to her. And when she divorced my dad, she wanted to make sure that I didn't give for granted her, and that I didn't have a partner that it was not going to be respectful, and that have respect for myself. And I think that even if she was scared, she did it. And I think that that was a hero. And my grandma too, I think she did also many things that that was not common in those days. And what Adrian, you said about how the grandparents, the eyes that the grandparents see us, I think for my grandma, I was a hero. So
I need to add that as much as the grandma Veronica is a hero to her, she's been a hero for her grandma. She's been calling her for the last, I don't know how many years, at least basically every week, sometimes many times a week. It's a grandma that is living in isolation in Mexico by herself. And for all this time, she was giving her grandma a sense of belonging and just human presence and love that she was not having. And that's makes me my hero. Veronica is a hero as well. So.
No. Now we're all crying. That's great. Thank you.
Un abracito, un abracito.
And I want to add that also, I didn't think that I will find like good men role models. Like, I mean, now I want to see that Moise, even if he was not that comfortable to come, I mean, he's here and you're here. So thank you. And I'm trying.
I think you were the last one, no?
Anything about the training?
Oh, sorry, I missed that part. Wow, that's a big question. Well, I really enjoyed yesterday and today as well. Well, coming from a background where there's a lot of machismo and all of that, the man is the one in power and all of that. I just enjoy to see that things are changing, and the training taught me that it's really happening, and all of these ideas have been always in my head. So to see that there's more people that think the way I think, it's like, wow. So the 2 days helped me to just feel more encouraged on doing this. Like, I have 3 little nieces, and they do look up to me for these things, and I'm like, just the way I looked up other models, women models, I feel like they see me like that. They're 13 and 14, and they're like, Tia, I want to travel like you. Tia, I want to do this like you. So they're like, and like to see that there are other things in life that you can do. I'm not against marriage or anything, but in my country, people get married very young, and well, at least in the area where I grew up. So there's more in a life than just marriage. And I just, right? You understand what I mean? Yeah. So I'm happy that I can be that for my nieces, So, and all of this is just reassures what I've always believed. From where, I don't know, but since a very young age, I had these thoughts in my head. So I'm just happy to see them, coming through or manifesting in my life, as me being part of this training. So thank you.
It is really an honor for me to be among you, especially very beautiful and like couples and lots of talented people here. All are emotional, eyes are red. So I really I got a chance after long time to be a part of such training, and it was really full of knowledge, full of collaboration, and all the entire team is very nice. I'm very impressed to see you all guys here, and learn a lot, and we'll try to transfer the good wishes and good thoughts, and to approach the peoples for the positivity, to reduce the negativity, and we will approach our groups to encourage them to bring them such kind of training like this. So which is very not only sharing but very emotional. Very real stories were coming here. I observed that very real. People are sharing their personal things. So it's very impressive. I will say thank you all of you to give me an opportunity. Yeah.
Sometimes these workshops can be just important, because when you're doing this work, sometimes you look at the scope of it, and sometimes it can be a little bit discouraging when you kind of look at how much work you think there is to do. So I think we kind of need these chances to kind of regroup and recharge. And even if it is really emotional, it's good to know that there's a lot of other people that are committed to this kind of work as well. So to me, that's one of the most important things to get out of these workshops. And like I say, I think our emotions are all over the place the last couple of days, but that's okay. Sometimes we need that too.
I like the use of so many clips or the YouTube clips, and it really, you could really feel the emotions in the room. That was actually, and I love also the way actually Abbas prepared the food. It's very healthy, and I think the speakers too are very good. Thank you.
Thank you for having this great collaborative effort, and it was very, very powerful to witness all the both the presentations and also the sharings that were very honest and brought me a lot of introspection and feelings, and yeah, it was very eye-opening, and also felt the bonding with the group was very, very special. Thanks a lot.
Well, I have to say that I learned from the stories of people. I found that the stories have a universal goal to make you learn and to heal, because you see how people have the same situation or similar situation than you, and you learn from that. Also, I learn from the children I have the pleasure to take care. They are very smart, and I congratulate their parents because they really surprised me. They are very advanced, and they when I explain something and I test what I said, they are, prompt to tell me more than I was supposed. I am very happy for that. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today. That I am not from this group. I am here just for accident, but I really enjoy, and I promise to continue with this group.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed yesterday's presentations. I got some tips from the facilitating session, and I wrote a whole bunch of things on the sheets yesterday about things that I learned and things I wanted to take away. And then I just enjoyed meeting everyone here and the conversations I had with the people who I talked to about the different things that they're interested in and involved with. So yeah, thanks for having me today and being so great to work with and talk to.
I really liked Kiara's presentation. I thought it was pretty accessible with the different clips and the ways in which she presented the information. I thought kind of all the tools that were kind of hidden in there as far as like how to talk to people about sexual violence and that kind of thing were really, it was something that I hadn't heard of before, and being in a social work degree. Some of this has been some review and a good review since we're not in school currently, but yeah, I really liked the way that she approached it. I thought I learned a lot through that. I really appreciated Adrian's presentation and looking at it from an Indigenous perspective. I felt like as a white settler, I learned a lot as far as that goes, and a lot of ways that I can kind of decolonize my thinking, which was really helpful. Yeah, and I learned a lot from everyone who shared, so that was really great.
I think the one thing that I enjoyed most about the yesterday and today was that you really feel as if everyone in the room does have something to share, and while the facilitators were all amazing, everyone did contribute in some way and really did shift your thinking or contributed to what someone was saying. And especially for myself as a woman of color walking in this world, I walk very differently than a lot of other folks. And I think it's nice to sit in a room where people are starting to have that conversation and are starting to, sort of shift their own thinking. And there's something that maybe I can share with them that they sort of don't already know. And then obviously something that I can take from them that maybe is an effort that they're putting in like how they're living their life. And I think another thing I really appreciate is the sense of community and relationship building. It's always so welcoming to come back to the group, and it's always so welcoming to come back even if something is really heavy and really emotional. It's good to know that we have folks in the room that we can lean on and rely on. I love that, even just on our breaks, we're able to talk to someone who will connect us with something else and sort of keep that relationship going, because the work is important and the work is related to so many other forms of and systems of oppression. And I know that we're willing to work with one another on the things that we're all passionate about.
So my take on this training is that food was good, and I think the presentation are well thought and well discussed on the indigenous perspective, on the issues on women and sexual violence and the colonialization and how it affects the women from the oppressive men and as a perpetrator as well. So how we view ourselves and also the question is the whys and why we're doing this. How would we come up with a solution in addressing this type of issues that's becoming alarming and global in character. So I think my take with the learning is like I could use them when I go out in the community and organize and educate men as to the real context on the condition of violence and domestic violence and sexual violence that damaging the relationship, the community, and the person. So it is really good, and I'm looking forward for upcoming series of trainings, and I will be glad to join and attend. Thank you.
It was amazing 2 days with lots of learning and also starting getting back to thinking about those important things that we have to touch upon every day. And it was striking to me again and again that in each culture, in each part of the world, we have similar kind of problems. And domestic violence was a usual thing when my both grandparents' families, in the communist times, and and we have it in Ukrainian culture. Like my mom was in the songs, like my mom was beating me so I don't talk to a guy for a long time, or a wife talking to a husband. So when I die, who's gonna cry after me? And he says, well, black dog will gonna cry after you, those things. And it's in the culture. And I think those kind of conversations is important to bring up about masculinity, and especially like working with the teenagers who absorb everything they see in the internet, and they just try to
this peer pressure, and they want to be cool, and they see what looks like cool, but kind of it's important to have those conversations with them and explain what is really cool and what is not cool. So yeah, every session was like great, amazing learning with Fanny yesterday, and today it's I'm really grateful to be in this group. And yeah, it was the first group I found when I just came here 5 years ago. I'm just so grateful to be here again. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's one of the things I love so much about our group is you see wonderful people. Like, people are here because they care. And it's nice to see people come back to the group that we haven't seen for a while, and then they turn up again, and then new people. Yeah, and so I always learn a lot. I learned a lot from everyone sharing, was just so powerful. Our facilitators as well. I missed some, but I know the quality of the facilitators' presentations, and I know how they're such great resources. And it's a reminder for me that the knowledge from the community matters, right? We don't have to be experts in anything, and nor are we experts. Actually, there's so much knowledge, and the knowledge comes from those that are doing the work every day. And so we have those people at our table. So yeah, I wanted to thank everyone. I'm excited about the new people that are here. Makes me feel happy, and even accidental coming along and now part of us. I always say people come to Alberta Men's Network and oftentimes don't leave. In some ways, they will come back, and we might take a pause, but then come back again in a different way, or stay on, or then sometimes we run away, right? Lemlem and Adrian, and then we run back. But we're all here, and it's family work too. It's not a surprise to see different members of the family turning up. Like, we have at least three of us who are kind of partners, three couples here, but that's not uncommon because it's family work. 4 with Jay and Nellie, who couldn't be here. So it's about our own lives, actually. The work is about our own lives. So thank you. Adrian, I asked if I could say a couple of things just about the training. So Lemlem and I were going to do, and it's funny because, you have to go where the group is at. And the group, I think, there was a lot of learning. And so that's why we decided not to do the practical teachings on facilitating groups that we were going to do. But we did have role plays and games and stuff for all of you to try out and to give each other a hard time being the facilitator and then being the troublemaker in the group and all of that. So we're still, and Lemlem has some wonderful tips from community practice. And so we're happy to maybe do that another time. This has been amazing. I'd like to also thank Abbas. I thought we'd just have a few people around the table, and then it just grew because of your outreach capacities, and people come on board when Abbas is doing something. So thanks for taking care of all that.
Oh my God. I was going to say, like, the best part of the 2 days is like my presentation, which didn't happen. Right? I was like, how are we going to do this? And it didn't happen. No, it was good. But as Lisa said, I think it's just a perfect example how you want to facilitate your groups. How we all want to facilitate our group is we go with the energy, and also having like more than one facilitator. I think Fanny was saying that, and then you divide up the roles, and somebody comes with a different idea. So that was really cool. I think it reminds me again and again, as much as we facilitate groups all the time, there's so much to learn every time you participate. Like everybody had said here, I love the collective. I love the presentation, but I also like the collective wisdom and ideas and all the different shared stories between all of us. And so, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for everybody. And also, I think the other thing that comes out of doing some of this work is like we realize there are things that we need to put in place. From our discussion yesterday, actually, a few of us stayed outside discussing. From our last was Fanny's discussion around resources, and we decided that we need to actually come up with the resource list, and also as part of when we do the men's talk, we will have on-call resource people that will be on the list, and so just to reassure the people who are going to be doing the conversations that we will have some, backup for everybody. And so if if there's something that comes up, as you can see today, it was very emotional. So if something like that happens and you need a backup, there will be a list of something like that we're going to put together. And Nellie is going to put also, Nellie and a few of us are going to be putting together around community practice, around confidentiality. We had a really interesting conversation. So we want to honor Nellie's ideas around how do we do community practice and then confidentiality, because it's very complicated when you work in your own community and the community that you say every day. It's not as clear cut as when you're doing it professionally, because that's easier, because you could always, when I work for the city, I just say, well, the city wants me to do this. But since we're a grassroots group, we don't have that. And so we have to have a community practice and how we're going to be doing this work. And so we'll watch out for that.
More to come.
More to come. Thank you.
Okay. Abbas,
Oh.
if you want to share anything?
Closing.
Thank you. I guess there's a lot that I echo from what was already said. I guess I missed some portions of this afternoon, but it was clear coming in at different points how it was a different vibe, a different feeling, and I guess as I was. My experience and my learning, I think maybe one thing I guess I was reminded of is that as a man, as a male in this space, trying to contribute to this work, and I've been doing some of this work for quite a while, and it's I'm always sort of reminded that it's difficult for me as a man to understand the experiences of women. So that was, again, clear to me, and I was reminded how much I have to be vigilant. And I think being in solidarity, I think, with women in this work, and always being conscious of that, I think that came back to me so quickly, and I was just really humbled by that, and I think I really appreciate the support by a lot of the women in this work and in this space, and all of you in this room. It's really important that men and women do this together. So I think that was definitely a learning, I think, that came back to me quite clearly. And the other learning, I think, too, was maybe a reminder to how personal this could be. And it's okay. It's okay for it to be emotional and personal. I think it reminds us that we are alive in this work. And oftentimes this work is not objective, it's very subjective, it's very personal. And I think it could be personal in so many different ways to any individual. And I think going to the personal, I think, may be a good connecting point with many different people where we work. And I think we shouldn't really be afraid to go there. But go there cautiously and go there together. And I think I'm really encouraged by the discussions around this figure out supports, because I think that's something I think we haven't really considered a lot of. And again, particularly as a man, not really sometimes seeing the importance of that. So I think I really appreciate that, Lance, because I think that really could have only have come from the discussions here. So I really thank all of you, and thank you for sacrificing your time to be here. I know it was a sacrifice. A little bit of logistics. We've got some evaluation still around the room. If you're moved, to share something on the questions, we would love your feedback. We have captured a round, which I think is really nice, so thank you. And we have some certificates. I'm not sure if it was mentioned, so please collect. We have certificates for all of you, so don't leave without it. And I think I'll maybe hand it over to Adrian, who will maybe the last words before we take a break for the day.
Thank you. And as we had started off and were reminded of yesterday and then reiterated today too, take care of yourself. You know best when you need a break. And if you haven't taken a break for a while, that's time. So laugh, celebrate yourself, take time, make quiet time, and do things that, remember, we can overthink things and not end up not getting things done. So the things you think about, just go out and do them. See a movie, go to the mountains for the weekend, go for a hike, go to the zoo. You haven't been for a while? Go to the museum, go to the library. There's some new things happening there. Take a language course. And a cousin of mine that's doing some amazing stuff in the States right now, he finishes off his talks to students that they should get a passport and they should travel and see other places. They should learn another language and they should move around. They should learn to dance, take yoga, do something physical. I thought that kind of highlights stuff. And read lots because you can learn things. And it also helps you collect your thoughts. So I thank you for coming in. And we prayed, and I continue to pray for your safe journeys, for your travel, for the things that you're going to be doing. And when you have those difficult times, just reach back. Just remember that you're not alone, that there is help. Today is not forever, and you don't have to do everything right now. Take a break, breathe, relax, live. We have gorgeous places out here, places that you might not even have seen. Just on the other side of town, the Saskatoon farm, they're having their special next week. And it's, you get a big bag and you fill the bag with vegetables and they don't use spray. And it's like $15 for the big bag. They don't include tomatoes and garlic and small things, but it's a really neat place. You can go there for pie. They have a chef that's trained at Mexican food, really good food. Really good place to bring the kids, walk around. You can pick berries. You can pick sour cherries. And they have lots that they've already picked that are frozen. So just a little blurb. You want to learn more about First Nations, Blackfoot Crossing Historical Park. Sutina, just on the other end of town, have a really good museum too. Stony Makota. Stop by their casino. You can stop by for their restaurant, for their food. And then even in Banff, the Luxor Museum there. Check out Lake Louise. There's the strip mall there. Around the back, there's a little bridge, and it's an amazing place that just resonates with power. The river that goes through here starts way up there. So get to see the area around here, invite a friend, and take part in different things. So thank you again for sacrificing some of your personal time and donating it and spending time with us. So we all thank you for today, for all that we have. Thank you.